There's been a lot of talk recently about the kind of material that's being taught to kids, and the worst one that I've found so far is one called Let's Talk About It. Let's talk about the teen's guide to sex, relationships, and being human. I saw one point at which they said to kids that if you've got, if you think you've got a kink or if you have some weird sexual idea that you think is kind of strange or something, then what you should do is you should look it up on the porn sites, and then you can learn about it. So, right off the bat, you're encouraging 12 to 18-year-olds to look at porn sites to learn something about your kink. That is absolutely 1,000 times berserk. You should be trying to shut down the sites and limiting kids' access to pornography. That should be the focus, and every sane person knows it. The other thing that was really concerning to me was that they said, well, sexting, sending images of yourself to other people, you want to be careful about that. Maybe you want to take out some identifying characteristics and things like that. But if you really trust people, then it's maybe not such a problem. But the problem with that is that you can't never trust anybody that much. Sending them, just imagine the kinds of images that 14, 15-year-olds might send to each other. You might not even know who that other person is. Maybe you came to trust them because of your interaction on the internet. Maybe the person is your boyfriend or girlfriend, and you break up with them and they decide that they hate you, and then they're sending your images around, and who knows where they would go from there. Anybody that would suggest to kids that they engage in sexting, is what they call it, is out of their mind, is demented, and should be gone. Should have been gone a long time ago, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so I'm going to go through the number of sorts of images. I'm just telling you this so that you have some sense of what's in there. You can go pick up the book for yourself if you like. That's what it looks like. A graphic novel, and the images occupy quite a lot of space on the page, so that every image looks big, and they tend to be really detailed. So you've got, substantial sized images with quite a bit of detail, I would say. I saw 3 anuses, 11 vaginas, 15 pairs of breasts, 17 penises, and 3 scrotums. I can't honestly say that I know what I was looking at, but there were 2 or 3, I think, images of people that had both substantial breasts and substantial male genitalia. So I couldn't tell really what I was looking at. The ones with male genitalia were men, and they would have had hormones to enable them to grow their breasts. But with the women, it's harder to say, because you've got a person with a beard, with breasts and a vagina. That could be a man who's post-op, or it could be a female who's taken testosterone and grown a beard. So I can't honestly say what I was looking at. I think at least one of those images was on a page that, opposing pages, was just people kind of flailing their bodies around. I guess you could say sort of an orgy thing, but their bodies aren't in contact. And you got the penises out, you got the vaginas out, you got the breasts out, all different types of shapes of bodies and types, which actually I think is good. There's advice in here that's okay. Did I mention the butt plugs? Yeah, I got the butt plugs. There's quite a bit of encouragement to explore your anus as an erogenous zone. There's a whole chapter devoted to 2 guys. They're in a tent and they can't come, so they question their masculinity, and then they reassure each other, and then the weather cools down and they pop one off, and that's terrific. And then there's with images, right? And then I think that there's a female scene. And nowhere in the book is there any discussion about reproduction, that sex kind of has a purpose, and that's to reproduce and have babies. If it did talk about, the circumstance in which a baby could be raised, I'm sure that they would never in a billion years think, well, yeah, a monogamous relationship between a man and a woman is really the ideal situation for raising children. There's nothing, no fact is better established in sociology, apparently. One of the things essentially they talk about queer is anything that goes against heteronormativity. So the nuclear family, in which you've got a child has a mother and a father who bring unique skills to the situation, would be something that they would oppose, because they would oppose that sort of relationship on the grounds that it's oppressive. There's one phrase in here where they're talking about how unfair it is that men can sleep around all the time, but if women do it, they're called sluts. And then one of them says, yeah, screw the patriarchy or something like that. And the other one says, vive la révolution, right? So what you're getting there is the cultural Marxist thing. They see everything as oppressive, and anything that's counter to what might be considered traditional should be pursued. That's, in a sense, what all of this is about. What this is about, I would say, I don't think that you can avoid the word pedophilia. If you're encouraging 13, 14-year-olds to look at pornography, to explore the erogenous nature of your anus, you're saying this to 13, 14-year-old kids, yeah, you're a pedophile. In my opinion, that makes you a pedophile. There's one scene where a couple of young guys they've got ice cream cones, and they're like, big-eyed and sort of kissy lips or whistling lips, and the text that came with another one is schlurp, I think. And, well, it's homoerotic for sure. If it had been two girls like that doing something like that, there probably would have been a complaint, right? It wouldn't have made sense to be showing images like that to teenagers. But I think honestly, the world we're living in, if it had been two girls approaching an ice cream cone like that, there would have been complaints internally. You're reinforcing heteronormativity, that it would be, it's kind of natural. If you even portray it, that it must be natural, that, it would be women that might take that sort of attitude to a phallic-shaped object. So that's number one, The Teen's Guide to Sex, Relationships, and Being Human. I just took it out from the library. I hope that got it. Yeah, so that's it for this one. I don't enjoy this.